The Donghua begins when a girl named Fong King Shui meets with Sect elder, Master Yohua, to talk about her planned trip to Purple Lightning Peak on Mount Yohua. King Shui was one of the main disciples of the Yohua Sect school who had managed to reach the 4th stage of magical spirituality. The Yohua Sect master praised her greatness as King Shui had reached that point at a very young age and promised to pass down the Yohua Sect college to King Shui. Before leaving for Mount Yohua, King Shui asked the sect leader for permission to let her go back to her house and choose some servants or bodyguards who would accompany her during the later trip to Mount Yohua. The scene switches to the Fong family home, where the students of the Fong family school are practicing with a male martial arts teacher named Fong Sessa. Not far from the training ground, a young man named Fong Han is seen quietly watching the teaching given by teacher Fong Sessa. Fong Han could not join the other youths to become a student at the school due to his status as a lowly slave in the Fong family. Master Fong Sessa explained that any warrior who has practiced hard would be able to raise their physical spiritual level to 10 levels. If one has reached the 10th level of physical spirituality, then even 5 horses will not be able to tear their bodies apart. Not only that, after successfully mastering all levels of physical spirituality, one can increase their level by reaching the 1st level of magical spirituality. This level can only be achieved by certain people who can control the power in their minds, and at the peak, those selected people will be able to control some elements on Earth. Not long after, a girl named Fong Qingwei, the youngest child of the Fong family, came before the disciples. Qingwei said that the young men chosen to be disciples of the Fong family were lucky people because not everyone could learn martial arts from the Fong family, such as servants or slaves. Hearing these words, Fong Han clenched his fists in anger and vowed to train hard to become stronger. Due to Fong Han's status as a slave, Fong Han was forbidden to learn the Fong family's special martial arts, so he could only train secretly. Shortly after, Fong Han woke up from his daydream. He had just remembered that he had forgotten to feed the horse that Miss Qingwei was going to use for hunting. On the other hand, a senior male disciple named Hua Tiandu went to see the Yohua sect leader, Hao Tian, to report that a man named Bai Hai Chan from the Star Sect had stolen 2 magical heirlooms from an ancient tomb. Furthermore, Senior Hua explained that the 2 stolen magic heirlooms were a forbidden pill called Juqiao pill that could regenerate repeatedly and a dragon painting that could absorb the power of any magic weapon. Knowing that, Hao Tian ordered Senior Hua to find Bai Hai Chan's whereabouts and reclaim the 2 magic heirlooms before the bad guys misuse them. It should be noted that although Hao Tian has the status of a sect leader, Sect Elder Master is in a higher position than a sect leader. Back to Fong Han, who was repeatedly whipped by Miss Qingwei because he had forgotten his duty to feed her favorite horse. While Miss Qingwei was punishing Fong Han with the most painful lashes, Fong Han kept remembering his father's words before he passed away. Fong Han's father said that he felt very sorry that he had never tried to change his slave status and make his family suffer the life of a slave. Fong Han's father even said that being a beggar was better than being a slave who was never freed. After Miss Qingwei felt that Fong Han's punishment was sufficient, she threw some silver pieces to Fong Han as a gift. The head butler, Fong Lie, and the bodyguards forced Fong Han to thank Miss Qingwei. Although Fong Han felt very reluctant to say those words, he was forced to do so to avoid getting into more trouble. The reason Miss Qingwei gave Fong Han the silver pieces was because it was part of the tradition of the elites to be able to make the slaves obey them. At night, Hai Chan, who had managed to steal the 2 most powerful magic heirlooms, was still trying to escape King Shui's pursuit. Although Hai Chan had taken the Juqiao forbidden pill, he realized that King Shui had reached stage 4 magical spirituality level while he was still at stage 10 physical spirituality level. Therefore, Hai Chan chose to escape and avoid a fight with King Shui by running to the forest coast around the beach. Unfortunately, King Shui could still find Hai Chan and immediately ordered him to hand over the 2 magic heirlooms. Now Hai Chan had no choice but to fight against King Shui, so he tried to use the power of the dragon map that had fused with his body. Unfortunately, Hai Chan still couldn't match the power of King Shui and was almost killed by her fire magic attack. However, Hai Chan still survived because the power of the dragon map was instantly activated and protected his body. King Shui looked shocked at the immense power possessed by the dragon map, and just as she was about to snatch the dragon map, Hai Chan's body suddenly bounced into the sea. Shortly after, Fong Han, practicing martial arts alone on the beach, had to stop training when he saw someone lying helplessly among the rocks. It turned out that the dying man was Hai Chan, whom the waves dragged to the shore. As Fong Han was trying to check on Hai Chan's condition and bring his body to the beach, a strange pill suddenly came out of Hai Chan's body. Fong Han saw that the essence of the pill had been inhaled into Hai Chan's nose, causing Hai Chan to regain consciousness. Hai Chan explained that King Shui had just defeated him in a battle and was thrown into the ocean before the waves dragged him to that place. Upon seeing the many whip wounds on Fong Han's back, Hai Chan knew that Fong Han was a slave who his master often abused. Hai Chan offered Fong Han to become his disciple and Fong Han immediately accepted the offer. Hai Chan realized he would not be able to last much longer, so he handed over the Juqiao pill and dragon map to Fong Han. In exchange, Hai-chan asked Fong Han to kill King Shui because she had made all his struggles to gain the power of the magic heirloom in vain. Hearing Hai-chan's strange stories, Fong Han was initially hesitant and intended to refuse the request because Fong Han wanted to be free from being a slave so as not to be continuously tortured by the Fong family. After agreeing to the deal, Hai-chan immediately handed over the dragon map and transferred the Juqiao pill into Fong Han's body. After Hai-chan died, Fong Han immediately buried Hai-chan's body among the beach's rocks and remembered all the messages Hai-chan had given him regarding the dragon map heirloom. After receiving the power from the forbidden pill, Fong Han continued to train hard to raise his physical spiritual power to a higher stage. After practicing for a whole month, Fong Han could finally reach the stage 5 physical spiritual level and smash huge chunks of rock. On the other hand, Miss King Shui decided to stop the search for Hai-chan as she assumed that he had escaped to another land. In the evening, Fong Han was feeding the horse that King Shui would use to go to Purple Lightning Peak. But not long after, some other servants beat up Fong Han because they thought he wanted to steal the horse. Fong Han tried to explain that he just wanted to say goodbye to the horse, but the servants ignored his words and instead ganged up on him simultaneously. Fong Han, who was fed up with the servants' treatment and insults, immediately fought back and beat the servants one by one. Seeing the chaos, King Shui immediately stopped the fight and went straight to Fong Han. King Shui realized that the attack technique performed by Fong Han was a secret martial technique of the Fong family, so she immediately knew that Fong Han had been learning the method secretly all this time. But instead of scolding Fong Han, King Shui decided to invite him to the group of servants that would accompany her to the Purple Lightning Peak. King Shui was curious about Fong Han because he had reached the 5th stage of physical spirituality. Fong Han lied by saying that he had eaten viper bile when he was a child and had become stronger since then. King Shui believed it because she had also heard that viper bile was a natural elixir for improving cultivation. She didn't realize that the reason why Fong Han became stronger was the power of the forbidden pill Hai-chan had given him. The following day, King Shui and the entire group set off towards the Purple Lightning Peak located on Donghua Mountain. All the residents seemed enthusiastic about King Shui's group because Donghua Mountain was known as the place where the disciples of Donghua Sect cultivated and improved their spiritual power, so everyone who had the opportunity to study at that place was very fortunate. After several days, King Shui's group finally reached the foot of Donghua Mountain. Not long after, some Donghua school disciples appeared with their cranes, creating chaos in front of King Shui's group. Not only that, but King Shui's favorite horse Fong Han was carrying also started to get out of control as it was frightened by the chaos. The disciples then intentionally pushed Fong Han and the horse until they were thrown into the ravine. Fortunately, Fong Han could still survive the incident after he clung to a tree branch at the cliff's edge. King Shui was furious that the disciples had disrespected the Fong family and killed the beloved horse. King Shui immediately beat one of the students to give a warning, but because the students continued to insult the Fong family, she took decisive action by killing them all. It turned out that the disciples were the disciples of a senior male disciple named Jing Shitai. Upon seeing his disciples being killed, Jing Shitai was shocked and could hardly believe what King Shui had done. King Shui also said that Jing Shitai could fight with her in the death arena. Indeed, Jing Shitai could still not accept all of that. However, even though Jing Shitai felt very upset, he didn't dare to fight against King Shui because her magical spiritual power was much higher than his. Afterward, King Shui ordered head butler Fong Lie to prepare everything needed at Purple Lightning Peak while she secluded for some time. Before King Shui left, she gave Fong Han a golden token and made him the caretaker of the mystical white crane that would later be the vehicle in the Purple Lightning Peak area. After King Shui left, the head butler and the bodyguards insulted Fong Han as a lowly slave and forced him to hand over the gold token. Unlike usual, Fong Han, this time, chose to put up a fight against all the insults from the butler. Fong Han even dared to beat up butler Fong Lie in front of the other servants to warn them all. Just as some of the bodyguards were about to beat Fong Han up, Fong Han immediately informed them that he had reached the 5th stage of physical spirituality. Upon hearing that, the bodyguards abandoned their plans and immediately apologized to him. A girl, who happened to be at that place and had been watching Fong Han from the beginning, was amazed by the courage he possessed. The girl introduced herself to Fong Han as Hong Yi, a prospective outer disciple of the Donghua Sect school. Afterward, Fong Han went to the mythical animal ward to meet the lead crane of the dozens of white cranes. After Fong Han dripped his blood into a golden token, he was finally able to learn the language of Princess Crane and communicate with her. On the other hand, Jing Shitai was going to meet the senior chief disciple to tell about King Shui who had killed his 8 disciples. However, the senior leader ignored Jing Shitai's words because he already knew that the dispute was caused by Jing Shitai's students being disrespectful to King Shui. Back to Fong Han, who was flying with Princess White Crane flying around Mount Donghua. But when Fong Han and Princess White Crane were about to return to the ward, they were suddenly chased by mysterious black smoke. It turned out that the smoke was released by an old man named Malin, who was interested in capturing the White Crane for sacrifice. Unfortunately, Fong Han and Princess Crane survived the black smoke attack because the dragon map had absorbed all the power from the black smoke. Meanwhile, Malin missed the white crane and intended to leave the place. But before Malin could go to Mount Yohua, Jing Shitai suddenly held him back from telling him something very important. Jing Shitai asked Malin for help to kill King Shui with the deadly magic pumpkin weapon that Malin had. At first, Malin refused the request, but after Jing Shitai convinced him that King Shui had two of the strongest magic heirlooms, Malin agreed to carry out the plan. Meanwhile, Hong Yi returns to see Fong Han and invites him to apply for the Yohua Sect's outer disciple selection. Hong Yi explained that the Yohua Sect College accepted disciples from three paths: outer disciples, inner disciples, and main disciples. The main disciples were selected people like King Shui and Senior Hua Tiandu, and the inner disciples came from Yohua's noble circles. In contrast, the outer disciples were disciples who came from any class. Fong Han doubted himself because he was unsure of his abilities. Still, Hong Yi managed to convince him and motivated him to use the opportunity as a way to become a disciple of the Yohua sect. Fong Han began practicing the next day vigorously to advance his spiritual cultivation to the next stage. After practicing for a long time in the water, Fong Han finally reached the 6th stage of physical spirituality, where his attack speed increased. The rapid development of Fong Han's strength impressed King Shui, and she began to realize that he had tremendous potential. King Shui decided to give Fong Han an enrollment recommendation letter that he could use to participate in the Yohua Sect's disciple selection that would be held in a few days. When the day for the selection of new disciples for the Yohua Sect arrived, Fong Han immediately applied along with thousands of other disciples. The selection supervisors initially intended to reject Fong Han's application because his name wasn't on the list of new disciple candidates. But after learning that Fong Han was a recommended disciple of the notoriously powerful Miss King Shui, the inspectors allowed him to participate. Hong Yi, who had just learned that Fong Han had gotten a letter of recommendation from King Shui, started to wonder. Hong Yi thought that Miss King Shui had deliberately allowed Fong Han to participate in the new student selection exam as part of King Shui's plan to kill him. But Fong Han immediately denied the accusation because Miss King Shui was the only person in the Fong family who treated him well, and only Miss King Shui cared about him. The first test in the Yohua Sect student selection is to fight with a mystical giant puppet that can kill everyone who fights it. Hong Yi tries to warn Fong Han by saying that this selection test is very dangerous and they have to risk their lives, so she advises him to reconsider his decision. Although Fong Han realizes that the selection test is very dangerous, he still insists on taking it because he doesn't want to miss his only chance. When it was Fong Han's turn to fight against the mystical doll, Hong Yi offered him a sword as a weapon for Fong Han. But Fong Han refused the offer and wanted to prove his skills in front of all the students. When the fight between Fong Han and the puppet began, the mystical puppet instantly crushed Fong Han's body with its hand. Everyone thought that Fong Han had died at the first attack from the puppet, but it turned out that he could still survive and even increase his cultivation to stage 7. Fong Han became the first and only student in the new selection who defeated the mystical puppet without using weapons. Meanwhile, Hong Yi managed to leave an impression on the new students due to her speed of movement. After a long selection process, 20 examinees, including Fong Han and Hong Yi, were finally accepted as new students in the Yohua Sect school. Fong Han, who was very happy, immediately rushed to see Miss King Shui to thank her for the great opportunity she had given him. Unfortunately, when Fong Han delivered the news about his success to King Shui's younger sister, King Wei, scolded him because she thought he had insulted her. King Shui also tried to calm King Wei down and asked her not to be easily angered over trivial things done by a slave. Those words made Fong Han feel heartbroken because all this time, he thought that Miss King Shui was the only person who didn't see him as a slave. After Fong Han entered Yohua's student dormitory, the relationship between Fong Han and Hong Yi became closer. Fong Han also became friends with another male student, Liu Kang, who would later become Fong Han and Hong Yi's partner in martial arts training. A few days after Fong Han practiced with Hong Yi, he again managed to improve his cultivation and reached the 8th stage of spirituality. On the next day, all the outer and inner disciples of the Yohua sect were gathered in the main hall and told about their first mission. In this mission, they would help the senior disciples to stop a bandit invasion that would attack the Blue Moon Kingdom. Any outer disciples who made a great contribution to this mission would have the opportunity to be selected as disciples in the Yohua sect. But this mission is challenging because they have to deal with two of the strongest enemies, Malin and a prince from the evil magic sect. After the announcement, a noble male disciple approached Fong Han and insulted him for being a slave. The annoyed Fong Han immediately challenged him to a one-on-one duel. The young man confidently accepted the challenge because he thought Fong Han was still in the 7th stage of cultivation. However, once the fight started, Fong Han could easily defeat the young man as he was now at a higher stage of spiritual cultivation than him. One of the male disciples, the young man's partner, also tried to attack Fong Han with his flying sword. However, the flying sword did not hurt Fong Han's body and was instead absorbed into his body. The young man who owned the flying sword, Zuo, was amazed by Fong Han's abilities and wanted to ask for the flying sword back. Fong Han refused to give the flying sword because he did not know how to get the sword out of his body. After Fong Han left, a senior female student named Muo immediately scolded Zuo for using magic weapons carelessly. After teaching the arrogant student a lesson, Fong Han sees Princess Crane and asks her to take him to a cave. Along the way, Princess Crane kept bragging, saying that Fong Han should visit the stork ward more often and that if other students bullied him, he should tell her. Fong Han initially underestimated Princess Crane because he didn't think she could fight against humans. Princess Crane proudly explained that she was able to learn several moves from Miss King Shui, one of which was the Yuan Chen spiritual technique. After Fong Han arrived at the cave, he immediately asked Princess Crane to pick him up in a few hours. While in the cave, Fong Han began to take out the dragon map and opened it slowly. He saw the essence of the magic sword that had entered his body and was trapped in the dragon map dimension. Fong Han, curious about the dragon map, tried to shed his blood on the map, and within seconds, he immediately entered the dragon map's dimensional world. Fong Han managed to find Zuo's flying sword and accidentally changed the ownership status of the dragon sword. The flying sword had submitted to Fong Han and chose him as its new owner because it had erased Zuo's sword's ownership status. After Fong Han understood that the dragon map would absorb any magic heirloom or magic weapon that had entered his body, he began to think about using the absorption technique as his new move. Afterward, Fong Han called Princess Crane again and asked her to bring him to Miss King Shui so he could tell her about his first mission. When King Shui saw the aura from within Fong Han's body, she realized that he had learned the Yuan Chen spiritual technique. King Shui immediately knew that Princess Crane had secretly taught Fong Han the secret technique without her knowledge. After hearing about Fong Han and the outer disciples' first mission, King Shui advised Fong Han always to be careful as this mission was too dangerous. The next day, Fong Han and the rest of the Yohua Sect's outer disciples set off toward the desert to fight against the bandit sand army together. They would be accompanied by several key senior disciples, such as Senior Muo and senior male disciple Yuan Jiekong, who was known as one of the most talented disciples in the college. In the evening, after arriving at the desert area's border, Fong Han and the other disciples decided to rest for a while. Unfortunately, shortly after they arrived there, an army of desert bandits began to attack their camp. As the bandit army launched thousands of arrows at the Yohua Sect troops, Senior Yuan immediately blocked all the arrows with a magic veil to protect the students. When the bandit army reached the campsite, the battle between the Yohua Sect disciples and the desert bandits began. Fong Han, Hong Yi, and the other disciples began bravely to fight while trying to protect each other. In the middle of the fight, Senior Yuan suddenly fought against Fong Han for no apparent reason. But just as Senior Yuan was about to injure Fong Han with his sword, a mysterious flying sword attack suddenly appeared and attacked him, so Fong Han managed to survive. It turned out that the attack came from one of the strongest enemies, Prince Red Dust, who was known as one of the best sword masters of the time. The Red Dust Prince then summoned 10 general demon monsters to attack the Yohua Sect student army while he fought a one-on-one duel with Senior Yuan. The appearance of those 10 Yaksha monsters with strength equivalent to stage 10 cultivation forced Senior Muo to form a flying sword formation with her junior disciples. Initially, Senior Muo could match the enemy's strength and managed to kill one of the Yaksha monsters. But since Zuo's flying sword was in Fong Han's hands and Zuo still couldn't master the flying sword loaned by Muo, the flying sword formation was still not stable enough. As a result, the Yaksha monster army defeated the formation, which had merged into one very powerful appearance. To solve the problem, Senior Muo ordered her senior disciples to assist the Golden Whip formation so that they could at least restrain the movement of the monsters and entangle them with the Golden Whip rope. After seeing his 10 monster generals caught, the Red Dust Prince was furious and immediately pulled out his ultimate move, called the Soul-Sucking Move. As a result of the deadly move, all the disciples of the Yohua Sect began to fall one by one because the energy from their souls had been sucked away by the Red Dust Prince's attack. The only people who could survive the deadly attack were Senior Muo and Senior Yuan because they had protective armor moves. On the other hand, Malin, who had managed to find King Shui, began to carry out his plan to kill her using his pumpkin weapon. Malin insulted King Shui by saying that her strength was not as great as he had heard. But King Shui didn't respond to those words and immediately launched an attack on Malin, so the fight between them began. Return to the battle arena in the desert where Fong Han, who could still survive, tried to heal Hong Yi with his blood. Fong Han was confident that he could save Hong Yi because the blood flowing from his body was mixed with the power of Jiu Qiao's regeneration pill. At the same time, Senior Yuan decided to leave the desert area and seek reinforcements from the Yohua school, while Senior Muo attempted to attack the Red Dust Prince with what strength she had left. Unfortunately, even though the Red Dust Prince had been severely injured, he was still strong enough to deal with the attack and even managed to kill Senior Muo by strangling her neck. Fong Han, who saw this, also tried to stop the Red Dust Prince with his flying sword, but the protective cloak possessed by the Red Dust Prince could not be penetrated by the flying sword. But Fong Han didn't give up so easily. He tried to unleash various attacks on the Red Dust Prince. When Fong Han was getting pushed back, he tried to absorb the Red Dust Prince's flying sword heirloom into his body and then unleashed Malin's black smoke attack on the Red Dust Prince. In the end, Fong Han managed to defeat the Red Dust Prince with the black smoke attack, and Hong Yi, who had woken up from her stupor, also witnessed the incident. Hong Yi immediately knelt before Fong Han and praised his prowess in defeating the strongest enemy single-handedly. After that, Fong Han immediately pulled the Red Dust Prince's 10 monster generals into his body so that the monsters could not escape anywhere. But because the power of the 10 monsters was too great, Fong Han immediately fell unconscious and entered the Dragon Map dimensional world. In that world, Fong Han met a golden dragon incarnate man who turned out to be the original spirit of the Dragon Map magic heirloom. The dragon man named Yan Feng told him that the Dragon Map was an heirloom inherited by the Demon Emperor and that the Dragon Map owned by Fong Han was still not intact because parts of the Dragon Map were still missing. Yan Feng explains that if Fong Han manages to collect all parts of the Dragon Map into one, the Dragon Map will become one of the strongest heirlooms on Earth. After Yan Feng explained everything about the Dragon Map, Fong Han woke up and found Hong Yi hugging him. Hong Yi felt very relieved after seeing Fong Han regain consciousness, as if she was terrified of losing him. Before Hong Yi and Fong Han left the battle arena, Fong Han took out Yan Feng's dragon from inside his body and absorbed all the weapons and heirlooms in the desert. Shortly after, Senior Yuan and Hua Tiandu came to the battle arena in the desert. At first, Senior Yuan thought that everyone had died. Still, then Senior Hua informed him that the only person who died from their troops was Senior Muo, while the rest of the disciples only fell unconscious due to the Red Dust Prince's soul-sucking attack. After that, Senior Hua began to gather all the injured students using the healing ice move so that they could recover quickly. Meanwhile, Senior Yuan began to realize that the heirlooms and weapons in the battle arena had disappeared, as well as the 2 disciples who had disappeared. On the other hand, Fong Han and Hong Yi, flying in the other direction, accidentally saw the battle between King Shui and Malin. Fong Han and Hong Yi decided to help King Shui defeat Malin together, as the power of Malin's gourd weapon was very strong. Unfortunately, after they managed to defeat Malin, Hong Yi suddenly fell down and vomited blood from her mouth. She had previously been exposed to Malin's wolf smoke poison, and the poison slowly began to eat away at her body. Feeling desperate and scared, Fong Han begged King Shui to save Hong Yi. But unfortunately, King Shui and Fong Han couldn't do much to save her, as Malin's wolf poison was very deadly. As Fong Han watched Hong Yi, who died in front of him, he could only cry loudly and shout her name. He felt a great loss because Hong Yi was his first friend who treated him well and was willing to accept him sincerely. After the big fight against Malin, King Shui began recognizing the prowess of Fong Han and decided to revoke the slave status from him. She even planned to ask her father to adopt Fong Han as an adopted son in Fong's family. King Shui promised that she would train Fong Han to be stronger and help him to take revenge on Malin. Hearing that, Fong Han immediately stored Hong Yi's sword in his body and began to be determined to become stronger to kill Malin.